not bent, broke, or cracked. It's properly mounted, not missing any bolts. So then we can go inside. I would go leaf spring hanger, upper and lower, not bent, broke, or cracked, properly mounted, not missing any bolts. The leaf spring itself, not bent, broke, or cracked. It's properly mounted. It's not scissoring or crossed. My U bolts are not bent, broke, or cracked, properly mounted, not missing any mounting bolts. And there should be a upper and lower socket cover. Let me check. Is there one back there? Nope. Not in this one. So, in this one, we're done with that. So, we can work our way to, I would go the brake hose, the brake air hose. No abrasions, welders, or cuts. It's not leaking. It's properly mounted, not missing any clamps. Brake chamber, not bent, broke, or cracked. It's properly mounted, not missing any clamps. It's not leaking, not missing any bolts. Push rod slack adjuster, not bent, broke, or cracked. Properly mounted. What else? If I were to check it, it should not have more than 1 inch of play when pushed. So from that point, I would go to my brake liner. Should be down here on the other side. Brake liner, not bent, broke, or cracked, properly mounted to the vehicle. Should have at least 1/4 of an inch of lining. Not dangerously thin and that kind of stuff. No excessive debris. So then I would go to my brake drum. My brake drum's not bent, broke, or cracked. It's properly mounted to the vehicle. Let's see. No illegal welding on that one. What else? Oh, no signs of bluing, which would indicate overheating. So then from there, my inner rim, outer rim, inner rim, outer rim, not bent, broke, or cracked. No illegal weld. Then here, my sidewall here, sidewall, inner, outer sidewall. No abrasion, boulders, or cuts. It's not leaking. The bead is present and it's not leaking around the bead. The butt spacing is even. There's no debris on the inside. So once we get done with that, my tire face. No abrasion, bulges, or cut. It's wearing evenly. It can be recaps. The tire tread should be at least what, 230 seconds? 230 seconds. I'm not sure. Okay. So I think we got everything there. So we got my lug nuts. Not bent, broke, or cracked. They're properly mounted. They're all present. No excessive rust or shiny spots. And they're tight. So we can go here. My axle seal, not bent, broke, or cracked. It's properly mounted. Not missing any bolts. It's not leaking. What else did we say? If I were to check it, it should be between the add and the fill, standard operating levels. My valve stem, not bent, broke, or cracked. Properly mounted, not missing any bolts. If I were to check it, my tire should, I would use a tire gauge. Should have at least 100 PSI there. All right. So once we get done with that, just jump. We're working on B. Talk about this. The mud flat, not bent, broke, or cracked. It's properly mounted. Should be at least 8 inches from the ground. Properly mounted, not missing any bolts. DOT sticker present, proper color, red and white. Then I would go the 4 functions down there and the lights. Turn signal, 4-way flasher, marker lights, brake lights. Then I would talk about my reverse lights. Proper color, white, reverse light, that's the function. Not bent, broken, cracked, properly mounted, same thing, not missing any bulbs. Or, what else are we not missing? Any screws. So once we get done with that, I would mention this. There's enough space to make turns between the mud flat and the landing gear. Now when we get to C, that's when we pre-trip the landing gear. We don't have to worry about it now. So we're pretty much done with B. Now the only thing we got is the kingpin, not bent, broken, cracked. It's properly mounted, properly greased. The locking jaw is not bent, broken, cracked. It's properly mounted, properly greased, and it's locked around the kingpin. My skid plate, not bent, broken, cracked. It's properly mounted. It's properly greased. My apron at the top, not bent, broken, cracked. It's properly mounted. What else? Not missing any what?
Any bolts?
Yeah, you can say that, but I mean, it's. I would probably say it's properly greased. That's what I was trying to say. Fifth wheel skid plate, right here, not bent, broken, cracked. It's properly mounted, not missing any mounting bolts, right here. My pivot pin, not bent, broken, cracked, properly mounted, not missing any cotter keys. My release handle, or release arm, not bent, broken, cracked, properly mounted. It's in a locked position. So then we go around, we talk about the safety latch. Safety latch is right there. Not bent, broken, cracked. It's properly mounted, not missing any cotter pins. The one kind of looks like a castle nut though. It kind of looks like an upside down, but you can say it or not say it. So once we get done with that, we finish up with the coupling. You know all that stuff, right? Okay, so the coupling, it's got service right there. It says service. My service air hose or lines, there's no abrasion, bulges, or cuts. They're not leaking. The fittings on both ends are present. They're not bent, broken, cracked. They're not leaking. My glad hands, not bent, broken, cracked, properly mounted. It's not leaking. The rubber seal on the inside, it's not. There's no dry rot, or we could say there's no abrasion, bulges, or cuts, and it's not leaking. Same thing we said on this one, we say about the emergency. So I'm not gonna repeat that one, but this one, this is our power line, right? It's not ripped, torn, or frayed. It's properly mounted on both ends. Properly mounted on both ends. What else did we say about it? The pins on the inside are all present. There's no corrosion. And the safety latch is present on both sides. Well, maybe not on this truck. It's present up here. So once we're done with that, all we say is my hose and lines should not be hanging. They should not be touching any part of the catwalk. And there is enough slack to make turns. So that's all of B.